Hello, how are we doing, everybody?
Hello.
Welcome to our live stream this morning. We are absolutely honoured, myself and Alex, that you are joining us. My name is Chris. I'm the comms guy here at the church. I do sort of media-y stuff and websites and videos and things like that, and occasionally just, babble on live streams like this sort of thing. And this is Alex. What do you do, Alex, here?
Hello. Yes, well, that's a good question, isn't it? I do a lot less than Chris here, but I'm our student minister, so I'm training to be a minister, a Baptist minister.
Amazing. And she just lied live on air. She does not do less than me.
I think if we did a comparison, but we can't do that.
She's a very humble person. You need to know this about Alex.
But today's talk, we are looking at how we spend our time.
Boom.
So, yeah, maybe
That was
we
a
should...
great
maybe,
segue.
maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
We should look at how we spend our time.
Love
do
it.
a chart
Yeah.
or a spreadsheet, and we can compare it.
Brilliant.
You don't have time to do that. I probably have some time to do that.
That is that. We'll talk about this later, but that's
Yeah.
the complexity, isn't it? We're talking about time, and to work out how we're spending our time takes time, doesn't it? So it's all just weird. Anyway, we'll get onto that later. So you have joined us at a very great time, everybody, because we are starting a brand new series today. And our series is called Squad Goals, #Squad Goals, okay? And it's all about building great relationships. Now,
Squad goals.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard that before, if I'm honest.
I feel like we need to
Should talk
explain
about
what
that.
squad goals is, yeah. So basically, the term squad goals came out of social media. It's, you may hate social media, you may love social media, but this term came out of social media. Basically, it's to do with memes. I don't know if you know what a meme is. Basically, it's a little picture with some text on it that someone posts on their social media to make a joke, something funny, something like that. That's what a meme is called. It's called M-E-M-E. Some people call it a meme, but that's not what it is.
What does a meme stand for?
A meme? I have no idea. It's just a little picture with some text. That a meme is just a...
But the word meme.
The word, okay, so
if anyone knows it,
if you know on the live chat today, let us know. I can see there's some people live chatting already. Paul, Woolly Beef, and me. Love that name, by the way. If you know what meme actually stands for, like the word meme, let us know. But basically, squad goals is a term to define when you see a group of people and they're doing something really awesome. So they're doing something really cool or really fun or really clever. Basically, any trait that you would admire, there's a group of people doing it, you say squad goals. That's squad goals. That's a goal for your squad of people, is to be like those people. So you may have seen them like pictures of the Power Rangers in like stances, and they say squad goals, or like the Muppets, or anybody who's doing something funny or cool or hilarious. Or
I wonder what the Muppet squad goals would be.
I don't know. For like a comedian, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe actually, yeah.
Or maybe kids want to be like the Muppets. Anyway, so squad goals. It's all about building great relationships. That's the takeaway from today. It's all about relationships. So what else is going to go on during our service today, Alex?
That was a good question. So after we have spent some time waffling in the studio,
yes, indeed,
you're gonna be going over to the main hall, which is next door. We're gonna hear from Rachel, who's hosting our service, and she's gonna be talking a bit more about the theme. We've got some songs led by Andy, and our band just have some time to connect with God. Then you're gonna be hearing more from me. I'm gonna be giving us the talk today. And we're looking all about how investing time in our relationships is really important. But actually, I'm not just looking at time, because that's difficult, isn't it? How we can't create more time. Actually, going to be looking a little bit at how we use our time.
Boom.
And looking at quality time in our relationships.
Great stuff. That is really cool. Thank you so much. So I will take this opportunity to say, if you're already enjoying this video, please like it.
Oh, yes, yes.
That would be wonderful. And if you're not subscribed, so there's a little cushion down here. If you are not subscribed, it's blocked out by the crazy funky light thing. Alex, have a cushion.
Here we go.
So if you haven't subscribed to our channel, the button underneath this video will be red. So click it, please click it.
So you don't want it to be red. This is bad.
Yeah,
right?
It's bad. You want it to be grey.
We need it to be grey on the other side of the cushion.
No, we do. Let's
do that.
You should make that happen. Anyway, if it's grey, that means you're already subscribed. So don't click on it. Brilliant. So. Great stuff. If you're on the live chat, let us know how you're doing. Jamie Brooker's on there. He's got, we've given him a week away from the tech desk. So isn't that great? What else? Elwyn Bull's on there. Who else we got? Ray and Cherry. Great stuff. Lovely to have you on the live chat. This is brilliant. So let's take a breath. How has your week been, Alex?
That's a good question again. I'm very prepared for these questions.
Yes.
My week, how's my been? It's been good, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Have you felt like you've had any time, any white space time in between everything or not?
I've had a bit less time for things that I wanted to do. So, but yeah, I've had a bit of white space time, but yeah, it's probably been a slightly bunched up week, but for various reasons. So,
Cool.
What about you?
Yeah, I have not felt like I've had any time
no,
at all.
none. Not even a slither.
Not even a slither.
Okay.
It's been full on. We've had a full on week. But yeah, it's been all right. It's been getting ready for the new series.
Yeah.
A lot of worky stuff, getting ready for squad goals.
Is that a normal week? You'd say the past week, or slightly more busier than normal?
Mental.
More
yes,
mental.
Yes. Normally
so
you
have a scale of how mental
yes,
your week is. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I have kids.
Yes,
so
yeah,
anyone
that's
who has kids will know that just every week is mental. But yes, when work ramps up and things like that, it becomes more mental.
Yeah.
So, but then you're studying and you're everything all at once. So that's a time pressure.
Yeah, and term has just started at college,
Okay,
which is
wow,
why this week has been it's just getting back into it, isn't it?
Yeah.
You realise you have to factor in other things like classes and studying and reading and stuff.
Eating and
eating.
Yes, and sleeping.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, everyone, we can see that our countdown has started. It is now on 3 minutes and 40-something seconds. Great stuff. So that will be starting soon. So I'm going to ask you another question, Alex.
Cool.
Has it been easy prepping for this Sunday's talk? Because sometimes they probably come quite naturally.
Yeah.
And other times not.
Yeah, so the truth is that I felt like the topic of what I wanted to talk about came quite naturally.
Yeah.
But then applying it to my own life.
Okay.
Less natural, quite tricky, if I'm honest.
Okay.
So I'm still actually thinking over
Yeah.
what I'm going to talk about today. And actually, I'm trying to ask myself, how can I apply that in my own life? Because it's actually really challenging.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So here's a question. I was pondering this yesterday. When I was a kid, I felt like I had loads of time.
Yes, right.
Like I could go out and play games in the street. I could, go to a friend's house. I could just, if I was cycling home, I'd take the long way home just because I could. But now, I feel like there's zero time anywhere to squeeze out of.
Yeah.
I wish I was a kid again.
But you did have more time as a child.
Yes.
Like available time.
Yes, that's true. Well, is there? No, it's not. It's still 24 hours in a day.
No, I know, but you didn't
I
have to
had to go to bed earlier.
Yeah, but you didn't have to clean your house, cook dinner.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, no, that is.
But
true.
I think part of it, which is what I've thought about in doing this talk today, is the weight of responsibility that we might have. Like when we feel like we have loads of things to do and we're busy, we also feel quite weighed down, quite responsible. When you're children, you don't really feel that. You actually feel much freer just to use the time as you want, and time can seem much go more slowly, can't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. I hear you. So how are we doing? We've got about a couple of minutes left. Like you say, we're going to be going in to join Rachel in the main hall. She's hosting for us today. Who else is on the old live chat today? Anyone else said hello? Wow, Andover Baptist Church is doing a lot of talking.
Really?
It's Stephen
on
today.
the chat? Oh, so Stephen, yes, Stephen is on the chat.
Talk. Stephen's a great talker. We love Stephen very much. Anyone else joined us new? Oh, Bob Jelf.
Oh, great.
I haven't seen old Bob on the chat before. I have to say that.
We were going to talk about our stats, weren't we?
I apologise. Yes, we were. I apologise, Bob, if you've been on the live chat before. I just haven't, twigged that in my brain. Hi to Vida. Oh, your lovely husband is on the live chat as well.
And in the room next door.
Oh, and they've noticed. Johnny has actually noticed our little addition. If I just go up here and do this, there's a little addition up here as a rubber duck. Yes, indeed. So watch out, people. This is our shelves here, and the different things will be changing over time. So if you notice something new, just give it a shout out on the old live chat.
The duck, however, is sitting higher than Jesus, just to point that out.
Well, that is true. But Jesus
not symbolic, is it?
Very humble.
Yes, that is true.
So it's not symbolic in any way, shape, or form. So that's what we were going to do. On our phones, on our technological devices, there is a way of finding out how much time you spend on different applications and how much time you spend on it.
Yes, which we thought was useful for today, and thinking about how we spend our time.
Yes,
so
indeed.
Just if you've got a few minutes before the service is about to start, maybe have a look.
We'll come back to that later because we've got about 20 seconds left until we go back into the main hall. Oh, I'm not going to enjoy sharing my statistics.
Can you? You've got an hour. You've got half an hour to change your stats somehow.
How am I going to do that? How am I going to change my stats? Anyway, Anyway,
Yes.
we are about to go through into the main hall. Alex is not Alex. Rachel is there. Alex is here. You can tell how good of a morning I'm having. So here we go. Let's cast over to Rachel in the main hall.
Hello everyone and welcome to ABC. My name is Rachel and I'm one of the elders here at the church, and we are so glad to have you with us, both here in the room and also online. If this is your first time joining us, we would love to connect and say hi to you, so do use the chat online or say hello to one of the volunteers or myself afterwards. We'd love to get to know you. This morning, we are beginning a new series entitled Squad Goals, and we are going to be looking at the building blocks of good relationships. Not just the lovey-dovey kind, but all kinds of relationships, and God gives us huge amounts of wisdom for building them. So if you've been a follower of Jesus for a long time, or maybe you found yourself here unexpectedly and aren't quite sure what to make of everything, well, the wisdom on offer is for everyone. At ABC, we believe it is really important and good to come together to worship God, be that in person or online. To gather together, to be thankful, to be encouraged and to be inspired. It's a great way to begin our weeks as we scatter again into our communities. So wherever we are, whatever we're doing, let's pray as we begin our time together this morning. Father God, we thank you for all that you have done in our lives this past week. You know how we all are this morning. You know the thoughts we have. You know the moods we're in. You know the amount of stress that is going on in our lives. You know how we are feeling about you, and you welcome each one of us. And we join with millions of others across the world who are coming together to worship you, to declare your glory, and to praise your name. And I pray that you will inspire each one of us to be expectant this morning, expectant to hear your voice, expectant to come into your presence. So we pray that you would help us to draw near to you in worship and take this time to still our hearts and focus on you. Amen. Now I'm going to hand over to Chris in the studio, who is going to be taking a look at what has been going on in the life of ABC this last week.
Oi, oi. How are we doing, everyone? My name is Chris. I'm the comms guy here at the church. It is my genuine pleasure to be doing our little This Week at ABC slot. So if you remember way back, for the past couple of years now, we've been doing a social media slot, and we've just replaced it with a This Week at ABC slot, just to include a few more different things that are going on in our community. Exciting stuff. So last week we ran a challenge, and that challenge was called Dream Team. And you've sent in some great submissions this week. Basically, we asked you to send in some text or images about a person or a group of people that's really encouraged, supported, uplifted, built you up. So that we could all share in that. And here they are, people. Here they are. So let's just do a little in the round. So this, I believe this was from the Bull family up here, who were saying a whole bunch of people have really supported and looked after them over the years. There's family members, there's friends from church, there's friends from other places. So that was awesome. Isn't it good to have people just dotted all over the place that can support us? Isn't that great? This one, this was from the people that actually lead my Connect group that I go to, and this is the icon that we have on our WhatsApp chat group. Jesus was in a small group. I'm just saying. How true is that? Him and the disciples, they were just chilling, spending time, although I imagine it was quite a high level of challenge in that first small group. Can you imagine being in a small group with Jesus? It'd be like, oh man. But so cool at the same time. How amazing is that? So this is Marina, our own Marina, and there was a lot of love for Marina on our ABC online community, our Facebook group this week. A lot of people saying that she's a wonderful support, a carer, a friend, just an amazing person to know, really. So Marina, we love you. Loads of other people do, and your heart of Jesus is just shining through. It's amazing. What else we got down here? So this one was from Jeff, saying that this chap, I've completely forgotten his name, sorry about that, Jeff, but this chap was a minister or a pastor in Prague, I'm going to say, when Jeff was over in Prague at that part of his life, and he said this guy was a real support and encouragement and really helped him in his faith and just in life in general. So thanks for sharing that with us, Jeff. These two, this is another Jeff, but spelt differently. So this is Jeff and Ruth, and they've celebrated an amazing anniversary this week. This wasn't actually a submission to this to this challenge this week, but I've included it anyway because they're amazing. They're wonderful, lovely, just humble, brilliant people. And I know that they've supported lots of people, and they support each other really well. They're a good like example of marriage and stuff, and how you can really love each other and care for each other. So that's very cool. There's some crazy people here. Look at these crazy people. If you've been around the church a while, you know some of these crazy people. If you haven't been around the church a while, you'll be pleased to know there are crazy people in the church. They've had a great friendship over the years. What else have we got? This was my own Connect group experience over the past 12 or something years. It's looked different. There's been different people, but I've always felt really loved and supported through our Connect group at church. What else have we got? What things up here? So Hester was saying a similar thing. About her Zoomies, she calls them Zoomies, about how over lockdown, it's been amazing to be talking with people, and she's actually felt a really deep connection with them over Zoom, over lockdown, and over this whole time. So isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? So cool. So thank you so much for sending all those in, everybody. I have loved seeing those, and I'm sure other people have too. So I want to talk about a few other things. So I've mentioned Connect groups already, but this is one that has started up fairly recently. It's a man's group all about walking and talking, and there's actually a woman's one too that has started very recently. I think the ladies one came first, so I think we can give them the credit for the idea. But this gents one, they've started doing their walking. They're going and walking places, and those guys are loving it. It's a great example of people who have just started up a group, and that's going really well. The ladies one too. So if you are a walker and you want to get out, stride in with some people and just chat and spend some time, I would say the best place to get in contact is through the ABC Online Community Facebook group, or you can just ring in the office or email us or social media us, and we'll put you in touch with the right people. And finally, I want to talk a little bit more about Connect groups, because this whole series we're in now, this Squad Goals series, is about building great relationships. And so many of us in the submissions this week to the challenge have talked about our Connect groups being a brilliant place to find encouragement, to find building up, to find all the things that we need in terms of relationships. So this is how you could sign up for one. If you're not part of one already, on our website, this is our website here, there's a page called Groups. And if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see this. That's the wrong side. This is where you can sign up to join a Connect group. So just down below these bits, we can't go down lower because I didn't do a screenshot of that. But there'll be some sign up buttons. If there's room in the groups, you can click those buttons and sign up. I'd really encourage you to think about that if you're not part of a Connect group already. Some of them are online, some of them are in person, so have a look at those and see what you think. Okay, that is more than enough from me, I think. I'm now going to hand over to Andy and our live band in the main hall.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Good morning, everyone, and it's great to be here again this morning. And we're going to start by singing a couple of songs that just really focus on how great God is. So I just invite you to stand with me and to join in these songs where you can as we sing about how good our God is. The clouds, kingdoms will bow down, and every chain will break as broken hearts declare His praise. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power. He's fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before Him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb, and every knee will bow before Him. So Open up the gates, make way before the King of Kings. The God who comes to save is here to set the captives free. For who can stop the Lord Almighty? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles, and every knee will bow before Him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains, and every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb, and every knee will bow before Him. Who can stop the Lord Almighty? 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 Who can stop the Lord? Our God is the Lion of Judah. He's roaring with power and fighting our battles. Every knee will bow before Him. Our God is the Lamb that was slain for the sin of the world. His blood breaks the chains. Every knee will bow before the Lion and the Lamb. Yes, every knee will bow before Him. Yes, Lord, we thank You that You are so good. We acknowledge that every knee will bow before You, Lord. Lord, thank You that You choose to be here this morning with us, that You choose to come here to set Your captives free. May we know Your presence with us this morning, Lord. May we feel the power of the lion, but the gentleness of that lamb, that we may be free, because You are good. Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, He is my song. For You are good. Good. Oh, You are good. Oh, You are good. Good. Oh, You are good. The King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, he is my song, for you are good, good. Oh, oh, you are good, good. Oh, oh, yes, you are good, good. Oh, oh, you are good, good. Oh, and you're never gonna let me down. 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 'Cause you are good, good. Whoa, oh, you are good, good. Whoa, oh, yes, you are good, good. So, so good. Yes, you are good, good. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna
Hi, hun.
let me
Hi, lovely.
Hi babes, only me. What you up to?
What do you want now?
Hello, my friend.
Well, hello there. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, gorgeous. How are you?
Hiya, it's only me. How are you doing? Hi. Hello.
Dude, hey man, how's it going?
Besties, pals, peeps, chums, BFFs, friends, mates, fam. Life is full of relationships, isn't it? They are so important. They make life feel real, and they help us to navigate the ups and downs, the twists and turns of life. But they don't happen by magic, do they? Relationships take effort. But when we get it right, they can feel effortless. But what do we want from our relationships? To feel loved, accepted, trusted, to help our friends as much as they help us? So where do we go for wisdom? Well, God has some amazing wisdom for us about building great relationships. The Bible is ram-packed full of people trying to relate to one another, trying to restore broken relationships. So let's spend some time. Let's listen to what God might have to say about relationships. Maybe set some boundaries, but always wanting what's best for our friends and always trying to build great relationships.
Hi, mate. How you doing? You're on mute. You're on. Never mind.
Well, good morning, everyone. It's great to see you today, whether you are here on site with us or online. And I'm really excited to be kicking off this brand new series called Squad Goals. My name is Alex, and I'm the student minister here at Andover Baptist Church, and it's a privilege to be speaking to you all today. and to start this new series all about building good and healthy relationships, I'm going to be looking at what I think is possibly one of the most important, but possibly the most contested aspect to any relationship, and that is time. And I want to start by asking you all a question, actually a couple of questions this morning. Do you think or do you feel that you have enough time? Do you have enough time? I can see heads are shaking already. Do you have enough time to do the things that you need to do, that's on your to-do list or at work? Do you have enough time to do the things you want to do? Some people probably can't even contemplate what that is. Do you have enough time for the relationships and the people in your life? I'm guessing for us, actually, that the answer is probably no. We could all do with a bit more time, couldn't we? And that's because we live in a busy world. There are many demands on our time, and we're often going about our business hurried and rushed, busy, distracted. And actually, the trend is that this is only getting worse. Time poverty is a phrase that coins our modern era. But why is that, I wonder? I think it's ironic if we go back 100 years or so. At the beginning of the last century, predictions were made that future generations would enjoy things like reduced working hours and increased leisure time, all thanks to developments in industry, science, and technology. What fantastic predictions they must have been. Sadly, we know sitting here today, 100 years on, those predictions didn't come true, did they? In fact, the opposite seems to be the case. We are busier than ever, our workloads are higher, and we have less available time for things like relationships. And actually, the reason for that is because of all those incredibly positive and good advances in things like technology, because it feels like we're trying to keep up with the pace of modern technology, rather than using it wisely to enrich our lives and to perhaps be more efficient with our time, as those century-old predictions had thought. Current generations are now facing a crisis of distraction, with the ever-growing domain of social media and the virtual world wearing down people's capacity to pay attention and to build deep and lasting relationships with others. Last year, many people in our church community read a book that was called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, who's an American Christian leader. I wonder if you are someone who read that book last year. I can't remember if it was a year ago or so. I'm going to ask you, have you gone back to that book? Have you gone back and read it again? Because it's a fantastic book. And I realized this week I haven't gone back because, ironically, I've been too busy, too rushed. But I went back to it this week in preparation for the talk today. And I realized that I needed to do this because there's some fantastic wisdom in it. And I'd kind of forgotten some of the great lessons that are in that book. I love that John Mark Comer tackles this issue head on. And he quotes other leaders who say things like this: hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day. Or we're distracting ourselves into spiritual oblivion. And I can only wonder the impact that this is all having on our ability to build and maintain lasting relationships with others. I think it can be easy to think, and he talks about this in the book actually, that the answer to such problem is having more time, is to somehow generate more time, which we know isn't possible, is it? However, the reality is that if we were to have more time each day, it would probably quickly soon get filled up and we would be just as busy as we were before. And that's because the issue isn't about having enough time. It's actually about how we use our time, how we prioritize our time. There's a diagram I want to show you that's coming up on the screen in a moment, which I think is really interesting. It was put together by the World Health Organization in 2020, and it's just got some statistics looking at how the average person spends their time. So this is over an average lifespan of about 72 years, I believe. Working hours aren't included, but it's estimated we spend a third of our life working. So if you look at the bottom line there, 26 years, 5 months spent sleeping, is probably similar time to working. Not much we can do about sleep because we need it. So next up on the list, we spend an average of 8 years, 4 months watching TV, 6 years, 8 months on social media, an average of 3 years, 7 months eating and drinking. Again, that's important, isn't it? 2 years, 2 months shopping, then 1 year, 11 months socializing. That's spending time with others or building relationships, not just in person, is it? And then 1 year, 8 months doing the housework. These are generalized statistics, aren't they? But what do they tell us? I think that they highlight that this whole issue about time is not about how much time we have, but it is about our priorities. It's pretty clear from these statistics, isn't it, that spending time socializing, building relationships, or investing in our relationships is actually pretty low on the priority list, just above doing the housework. And let's not forget, too, that socializing, it's not just a physical activity these days. We're really blessed to have great technology, which means we can make a phone call or video call or FaceTime people who might perhaps not live close by. And that's another great way of investing in those relationships. I should also mention that social media and TV are much higher up on the list, and they don't really contribute to building lasting relationships. And that's not to say that social media isn't a valid way of connecting with others. You know, we promote that here at ABC, but there's only so much that social media can do. I think that the one thing social media doesn't do is encourage us to spend quality time with someone. And that's what I want to look at today. So to do that and to explore this topic in more depth, I'm going to be looking at a story today. It's a story that we find in the Bible, in the New Testament part of the Bible. It was written by a man called Luke, and it tells us about an event that takes place in the life of Jesus, so around 2,000 years ago. It kind of happens towards the end of Jesus' earthly life. He's in his early 30s. He's been traveling around for some years now with followers and disciples and teaching them. And he's on his way to the city of Jerusalem, where ultimately he will be arrested and sentenced to death. And on his journey, Jesus stops off at a small town called Bethany, where he visits some good friends of his. And we know who they are because they're named. They're called Martha and Mary and their sisters. And they also have a brother called Lazarus, who is a close friend of Jesus too. Although on this occasion, on this story, Lazarus isn't mentioned, but that's not to say he isn't there. So let's read how the story goes. As Jesus and his disciples were on their way, that's to Jerusalem, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. So she came to him and asked, "Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me." "Martha, Martha," the Lord answered, "you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her." I think this is a powerful story. It's a short story, isn't it? Here we have two very different personality types, if you think about it, in these two sisters, Martha and Mary. Two very different approaches to life and relationships. Before I go on further, because it's quite a well-known story, I just want to say that both of these examples are good. It's not that one is good and the other one isn't. Both of these women were friends of Jesus. I think that's important. It's important that they were named in the Bible because at the time of Jesus' life on earth, culturally, women and children were inferior, or they were thought of as inferior. However, these two women are important enough to be named, and that is significant. And in fact, there is other evidence in the New Testament that Jesus might have had women amongst his followers, which was not culturally the norm. You know, religious teachers in those days, Jesus was considered as a religious teacher, would have been men, absolutely, and they would only have had male followers. This could lead on to a whole other talk, something I'm interested in, but I'm not going to go into that today. So back to the story of Martha and Mary. What, I wonder, do we notice from this story? Let's look first at Martha. What does she do? She invites Jesus in, doesn't she? She opens up her home to him. She takes on this sort of hostess role. And actually, all of this suggests that she may well have been the oldest sibling in her family. She kind of feels the weight of that responsibility. And maybe she's quite proud of it too, quite rightly. We kind of get this impression of Martha as a kind of active, hospitable, practical person who takes the initiative. But then what happens when Jesus, who is the main guest, comes into the house? Martha is off, isn't she? She's busying herself with all the preparations, all the things that need to be done. After all, she now has to prepare a meal for what could have been a quite sizable group of people. Jesus had been on the road traveling with disciples, most likely a group of men or mostly men, so there would have been little or no help for her. The pressure must have been immense. So now let's look at Mary. She also welcomes Jesus into the home. But let's look at what she does when Jesus, the main guest, is there. She is with him, sitting at his feet and listening to him. And again, this actually wasn't a culturally acceptable thing for Mary to do. It would have been the custom in those days that the men would have gathered together in one part of the house, the women probably would have been in another part, the kitchen, making preparations where it was their role to do so and serve. What's more, sitting at the feet of a religious leader, or rabbi as Jesus was known, was actually often only the place for that teacher's chosen students. So why is Mary there sitting at his feet listening? She's eager to learn, isn't she? She's eager to listen. We don't know why Mary does this. It may not seem as kind of radical and rebellious as we think, given the culture of the day. Perhaps just because she is a friend of Jesus, Jesus had invited her to sit with him and to sit amongst the men. Maybe that wasn't so unusual amongst Jesus' followers. So let's go back now to Martha. So what has she been doing? She's busy, isn't she? She's in the kitchen, preparing, probably incredibly stressed. I wonder if any of us can relate to this scenario. She may not have had much help, as already mentioned. And then the one person there that she could have relied on to help her is her sister, Mary. And she is nowhere to be seen. Martha then discovers that not only is Mary not doing anything to help, but she's sitting at the feet of Jesus. She's with the men. She probably seems calm, relaxed, not appearing to feel the weight of the world on her shoulders like Martha is. And understandably, Martha is not pleased about this. I think this is interesting what she does. She goes directly to Jesus. He's like the head guest, the guest of honor. She goes to him with her complaint. Obviously affects her that much. Lord, Lord, she says, don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. I was thinking about this, and I think this is almost quite an embarrassing scenario, isn't it? She's the host. These guests have come into a house, and she's so irate that she goes straight to the head guest with her complaint. Imagine how that would have come across. But Martha is frustrated, isn't she? We know how we all get when we're frustrated. She's busy. She needs help. She has to act on this. And she almost seems like she's shaking her finger at Jesus, doesn't it? These are desperate times. I think it's also interesting to note that there is a sense of self-pity in Martha's attitude. Don't you care, Lord, she's saying, isn't she? She might as well say, what about me? Doesn't anyone see all the work that I'm doing? No one helps me, no one cares. I have all this responsibility and pressure on me. It's not fair. I can totally relate to this attitude, if I'm honest. I think I feel this way more often than I would like to admit. I also think often it is self-generated. And in many ways, our world creates far more Marthas than Marys, doesn't it? Well, our Western modern world anyway. You can't just sit about when there's work to be done. It's seen as lazy. Nobody wants workers like that, do they? Everyone has got to feel the pressure and the weight of responsibility. And there's such high expectations of us in modern society. We've got to be doing more. We've got to be achieving more. Otherwise, we have no value. And this just places more pressure upon us. And as a result, we might well end up like Martha, with this kind of accusational and uncompassionate attitude towards others. We probably don't want to behave that way, do we? It's not a great foundation for building healthy relationships. Now, some of us might well be natural activists. We might be doers, and that is good. We can't just sit around. We need to be doing something in life. And that is great because the world needs this type of person. So if that is you, please don't feel disheartened today. But there are times when we need to just sit and be. We need to slow down and listen. And I'm talking to myself here, by the way, just to let you all know. I think what I love here is that Jesus' response to Martha, it's not judgment, it's compassion. Let's listen to his words again. Martha, Martha, he says. He's trying to comfort her, I think. He sees, doesn't he? She's worried, she's upset about many things. She's hurried, she's busy, she's unhappy. There's no peace for her. I think Jesus wants Martha to have peace, like Mary, who seems to be in a better place. She has peace and quite possibly joy. And this is why Jesus tells Martha plainly that Mary has chosen what is better. She has chosen the one thing rather than being distracted by the many things. And this is not only better for her, but for everyone around her. Jesus doesn't actually say what the one thing is in this story, but I think it's pretty clear, isn't it, from the text? Mary is choosing to sit at the feet of Jesus. She's choosing, actually, to give her undivided time and attention to her friend and teacher. And I think that this is a great lesson for any relationship. And for those of us who are Christians listening or watching today, there's another really important point here. Let's not forget that Jesus is God. And Mary is choosing to give her time, not just to any human, but to God himself. And that's why it is so significant. She's giving her time to what is important. She's choosing to sit at the feet of God, to humble herself and to listen to him. I wonder how many of us, when was the last time we just sat with someone and listened? When did we sit with God and listen? And actually, to do this is to invest quality time in a relationship. And let's not discount Martha here, because she did invite Jesus in. She opened the door. She opened her home, didn't she, to God himself. And that's really important to acknowledge. She took the initiative, and she did spend time with him. But it wasn't quality time. It was distracted time. And again, that's not to say that Martha's role of preparing and doing isn't important, because it is. We need that, because without it, there wouldn't have been a meal. Everyone would have gone hungry. But it appears that it became more important to Martha than spending time with God and spending time with others. And I think it can be so true in life, can't it? I wonder who you relate to more in this story. Is it Martha? Or is it Mary? And this isn't a gender-specific question, although they're two women in the story. I think we all have characteristics of both, don't we? But for some of us, we might be much closer to one of these personalities. And if you're watching with us online and you feel quite bold today, why not think about this and put your answer in the live chat if you feel comfortable to do so. Obviously, if you're here in the building, just think this through in your mind. But I'll let you know what my evaluation of myself is. So I thought about this, and I think I am a 70% Martha, 30% Mary. That's where I would put myself. People closer to me might dispute this. I'm probably being quite generous there. But as I thought about this, what this means for me is that actually it's difficult for me to just sit and be with others. It's difficult to just sit and be with God, if I'm honest. I can easily be distracted by the many demands of life. I do like a to-do list. I love that feeling of getting things done, getting admin done. But I also recognize that I can waste a lot of my time doing things that aren't really important. My priorities can be a bit wrong. And this means I have less time investing in the things that are important, less time investing in the relationships and the people that are important to me. And what it really comes down to is how we invest our time in the relationships in our lives, isn't it? It is about quality time and not distracted time. Quality time is so important for building good relationships. In a book that's called The 5 Love Languages, Chris and I will be talking about this a little bit after the service. The author, Gary Chapman, writes about the importance of quality time. Actually, this is one of the 5 love languages. And I love what he says. There's a quote in the book that says this: "Quality time pays for itself in memories." Quality time pays for itself in memories. I love that. I'll bet Mary had a fantastic memory from that day when Jesus, God himself, came into her house and she got to sit at his feet and listen to him. Martha, on the other hand, I suspect, I don't know, it's probably just another busy day where she felt stressed and had too much to do and too little help. I'm not sure that would have made for a very good memory, if one at all. But the truth is, isn't it, as like the questions I asked at the beginning, it's not easy to find quality time or to make time for that, especially when we feel busy, hurried, rushed. Many of us in the room were shaking our heads when I asked if we feel like we have enough time. So what can we do? Well, I think that one step we can all take is to look at how we spend our time. A bit like those kind of statistics I showed at the beginning. Maybe we could look at how much time we spend watching TV or on social media, on Netflix binges or gaming or whatever it is, YouTube. I wonder if some of this time could be used differently. And that's not denying that we do need to unwind and have time where we're just kind of watching something mindlessly. But could some of this time be used or better spent investing in our relationships with others? And I think another step, just a second step today that we can take is to look at our priorities. How do we prioritize our time? Can we adjust them? And this can be really hard work. Going back to the book I mentioned at the beginning called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, John Mark Comer's advice in this is really helpful. He says this, that what we need to do is to slow down and simplify our lives around what really matters. To slow down and simplify our lives around what really matters. I think we see that in the example of Mary from the story today. And if I'm honest, this is really challenging for me personally. John Mark Comer actually also talks about the story of Martha and Mary in his book, and he concludes quite kind of boldly that he thinks God is saying to our generation, just as Jesus said to Martha, that you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed. Indeed, only one. So where do you find yourself today? Are you worried and upset about many things? Are you busy, hurried, and constantly distracted? Are you able to invest quality time in your relationships with others? And if you are a follower of Jesus today, I want to ask you, are you investing in your relationship with him? Are you spending that quality time with God? Because the bottom line is, and I think we see this in the story today, that building a good relationship with God is the best way that we can build good relationships with others. It starts with our relationship with God. I know there's a lot to think about there, and I'll be honest, there's a lot that I'm finding challenging on this topic as I've been thinking about it this week. But maybe I'd just love to pray now, and we can ask God maybe just to reveal one thing to us in our hearts today. So let's pray together. Loving God, we just open our hearts to you now. Father, I don't know, but maybe some of us just want to say to you today, we're sorry that we don't give you that quality time. Maybe some of us are sorry we don't give quality time to the people that matter the most in our lives. And Lord, this isn't because we don't want to, but there are so many challenges in our world. It's too easy to be busy and hurried and rushed and distracted. So God, we need your help. Would you just speak to each of us today and just show us a step that we could take in this area of our lives? Help us to slow down and to simplify our lives around the things that really matter. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Alex. And we're going to spend some time just reflecting on that and continuing in our worship. And during this next song, I just invite you to think about the words. And the words are about searching out God, whether he's in the highest mountains or in the depths of the valleys. And it's just a picture of how far are we going to go searching for him. And then the acknowledgement that actually when we search for him, he's already here waiting for us as we worship him. So let's stand together as we continue in worship.
Oh, how high would I climb mountains if the mountains were where you hide? Oh, how far I'd scale the valleys if you grace the other side. And oh, how long have I chased rivers from lowly seas to where they rise, against the rush of grace descending from the source of its supply. And in a heart and a heartache, you're neither more or less inclined. And I would search and stop at nothing, 'cause you're just not that hard to find. And oh, a deep but empty grave. Whoa, I will praise you on the mountain. I will praise you in the mountains in my way. You're the summit where my feet are. So I praise you in the valleys all the same. No less covered in the shadow. No less faithful when the night leads me astray. You're the heaven where my heart is. In the highest and the heartache all the same.
Yes, Lord, and this week, may we search for you. May we search those mountains, those valleys. May we see you, Lord. May we know that you are with us. May we just spend time with you in those moments, Lord, as we go into this week. Help those words to just resound through us as we focus on you and spend that time with you. Bless you, Lord.
Why would I worry when giants come calling my name? For my God is so much bigger than troubles I face. Why would I hunger for power or riches or fame? For my God is so much bigger than all of these things. And I won't be shaken, I won't be moved. My God is faithful, His promise is true. So I speak to the mountains, oh, it's time to move. For my God is bigger, better, stronger, greater than you. My enemies scatter, 'cause they know the battle is done. Than and I won't be shaken. I won't be moved. My God is faithful. His promise is true. So I speak to the mountains. Oh, it's time to move. 'Cause my God is bigger, better, stronger, greater. Bigger, better, stronger, greater. Bigger, better, and stronger. He's greater than you.
Yes, Lord, thank you that you are bigger, stronger, and greater than anything we can face. Thank you that we can put our faith and our trust in you as we call out those things in your name. Jesus, thank you, Lord.
Wow. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. So they're going
Hello.
to do one more song in the main hall there, but we are coming out to have a bit of a chit chat. I've got Alex with me, who just gave us our wonderful talk. She would never say it was wonderful, but I'm going to say it for her. It was brilliant. I loved it personally. Let us know. Or some of you have already. Alex has already had some love from the live chat, from the live stream. So thank you so much. So what we're going to do now, this new sort of pattern we've been doing these past few weeks is having a bit of a chat with Alex, asking her a few questions about her talk, just to drill into it a little bit more, make it a little bit more helpful and maybe practical for us, anyone watching at home. And then after that, we'll suggest some next steps. They'll get the same next steps next door, but we'll just chat about some next steps that you can take in your spiritual journey after that. And then we'll say goodbye and wish you well for your Sunday lunch. Just a reminder, if you've enjoyed this video so far, we would love it if you could like the video underneath that little thumbs up button, or if you're not subscribed, if the button is red, if the subscribe button is red under the video, we'd love you if you hit that so it becomes grey, so that you are subscribed to our channel. That'd be wonderful. It just makes it easier for you to find us again, and it means that hopefully we can help you more, which is what we're always trying to do here. We're always trying to help as much as we can. So let's crack on to some questions, Alex. I'd love to ask on these questions. So you talked about a book, The Ruthless Elimination
of Hurry.
Brilliant.
Yes.
So I hurry in my talking quite a lot. Alex is great for that, actually. Just on a personal note, she pauses a lot, which is brilliant. Do you have a great pause?
Only in like a giving a talk,
Only
like
in
a
this
public
scenario.
forum, never in a chit-chatty scenario.
Okay, good to know. It's
completely different.
Your husband about that.
Yeah.
I'll ask John.
Yeah.
But in this scenario, and when she's talking, she's a great pauser. And she just uses this dramatic pause, and it's brilliant. I love it. So you quoted this book.
Yes.
And you said, we are distracting ourselves into spiritual oblivion.
That's hardcore, isn't it?
That is hardcore.
I think someone called Dallas Willard said that.
Boom. Can you just unpack it a little bit for us, maybe?
Yes.
If you would explain, what is that? What do you think that means?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the book is talking kind of about people who are, people of faith or Christians. So, but I think distracting ourselves into oblivion, even without the spiritual bit, is relevant, isn't it? Because we're so, I think the point is that we're so distracted nowadays in the world that we're just kind of like not doing anything that's deep, meaningful, sustainable in our lives. Is that everything's like quick, short, we're not really investing. So spiritually, I mean, being like a spirituality is all about taking time, like reflecting and going deeper into like our faith and relationship with God. So if you don't have the time to do that, then it's not helpful for a spiritual journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And just some of those stats, thinking about those stats that you showed us as well about how much time gets spent over a lifetime of sleeping.
I'm annoyed about the sleeping one. Like, could we not sleep less? But anyway, or need to sleep less. I mean,
but rest is important, though, right?
Oh yeah, I think maybe we're forced to rest
Yes.
because we wouldn't do otherwise. There we go.
But the shocking ones really were like the watching TV and social media ones. I think they were quite shocking.
Yeah, TV is. I mean, I think those will probably change, flip in future years. I think social media will take priority, won't it?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Or like, I don't know how they split, things like live streaming and YouTube and Netflix, but because they were quite general stats.
Yeah, the boundaries must be quite blurred because
Yeah,
obviously when you think about social media, you can video chat now through social media.
Exactly.
So you're talking to a person, so it's a little bit blurry, isn't it?
Just generalised.
Yeah, they were quite shocking though. I was quite shocked. It's really quite sobering, isn't it, when you think about it? How much time we're spending on those things, and that's a really good. I saw a video once of a guy putting things in a jar.
Right.
I can't remember what it was called. I might try and find the video, and we might talk about it. Maybe I'll show everyone next Sunday, but on social media this week. But basically, he was putting things in a jar, and he had like big stones to put in that were like the big things, the big priority things, and then he had littler things which were less important things. But if you don't put the big things in the jar first, it doesn't fit.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
But if you put the big things in and then put the next size in, they kind of filter around them, and then the little things, and then like sand. He had sand as like the last one.
Wow.
But then he was even able to pour water in as well, and it all fitted. But if you don't put the big things in first,
it's true, isn't it?
It doesn't work. They don't all fit, which was really important about priorities and stuff.
Yeah.
So Mary and Martha, you said you were what? Was it 70, Martha?
Yeah, I was quite kind to myself. I think I said 70% Martha and 30% Mary. That's what I think, how I approach life and stuff.
So the Martha is the busyness,
busy, distracted, everything's so important, needs to be done, like weight of the world on her shoulders. Yeah. Also, like a great doer, gets things done. Like really, probably very reliable person.
We do need to get stuff done.
Practical.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like in life, we can't be Mary 100% of the time.
No, because that would be annoying and useless. No.
Yeah, nothing would ever get done.
No. Yeah, I know. You'd be like, come on. We wouldn't be here doing this, for example.
No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't, because we wouldn't have got our act together.
No.
So I found that was really interesting. How do you think we practically balance the Mary and the Martha?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because like you said, it's not like one is you just get rid, discard, like it's all about being Mary. Yep. But it's knowing when to be Martha and knowing when to be Mary.
Yeah.
So, and actually having a better balance between the two. So there are times when we're going to be busy, rush, might have to get kids to school or work projects or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's the time for doing. But then do you know when there's the time for just being and sitting? And especially if you're a Christian, do you have that priority of just being with God? Like some people start first thing in the morning, some people it's not practical, but do you still make the time? And the problem is if you're more Martha, the Mary's going to get kind of squished out, isn't it, sadly?
No, for sure. Yeah, definitely. No, that's helpful. We should look at our earlier on we talked about our phone stats and how on your phone it tells you how much time you spend.
Are we looking at the live chat polls as well?
Yes, live chat polls. Yes, very good point.
Because Chelsea tells me that whilst I was doing the talk, there were some polls going on the live chat.
It was actually during the worship. So
during
after
the worship,
you finished, they were.
Phone stats. So at the beginning, before the service, we said, why not look? An easy way to look at how you use your time is there's some stats on your phone, isn't there?
Yes,
so
absolutely.
if depending on what type of phone you have, it tells you your screen time.
Absolutely. Now let's bear in mind, people.
I'm really happy about mine.
My job involves being on a phone, being on a device, okay? So let's not all just be shocked now. But let's probably be shocked a little bit.
I don't think mine are particularly...
probably not healthy.
Are particularly telling.
But it has goals. I don't know whether the goal is what I'm doing or what I'm not doing.
I know.
Anyway, so it's telling me that so far today, I've spent 2 hours and 56 minutes on my phone. Now, obviously, I've been, chiming into the live chat and watching the live stream on my phone a little bit. I've spent time on YouTube and WhatsApp and things like that. Apparently, that's 2 hours, 1 minute less than yesterday.
Well,
so far.
Well done. Yeah, but today is
today has not ended yet. But this is a shocker. I'm not sure if this is true or not. I might have to dig into this a little bit more. It says my daily average is 6 hours and 15 minutes on my phone.
Oh, but that's probably true, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time working on my phone for different social media stuff for church and things, and watching our previous stuff. So I don't know whether that's that's hard. What does yours say?
Daily average 2 hours.
2 hours, yeah, of course it is.
15% down from last week. I know.
Alex is seriously got a holy moment going on over there.
No.
Wow. So maybe let us know on the live chat if you've got your numbers anywhere and you're not too embarrassed like me.
True. For some reason, my highest is WhatsApp. My next highest is my clock. I don't know why. Why am I spending so much time on my clock? An hour and a half.
That is brilliant. You're spending an hour and a half.
I think this is because when I'm practicing for my talks, I time it. So it's going to be hours. So this will be this week.
Alex just spends a lot of time just sitting, watching the clock.
I'm literally wasting time.
That is amazing. It's like watching paint dry.
I know.
Watching time tick away.
But for a lot of people, it's quite useful because it's quite scary. Like you said, you realise, you spent 6 hours. Yeah, 2 hours is probably quite good for me. But then you see what it's on. You're like Facebook, WhatsApp, messaging.
Absolutely.
And WhatsApp, again, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you are connected with people, but most of my WhatsApps are group WhatsApps or it's just quick stuff. It's never like an in-depth, let's ask each other how you're doing and stuff.
So the poll questions, that was just really interesting. So Stephen asked some questions on the live chat during worship.
Yeah, thanks, Stephen.
And the first one was, do you feel like you have enough time? And 90% of people said no. So that one person out there who has enough time, you're a legend. Love it.
We need to hear from you.
We need to hear from you. That is amazing. If it was it might have been 2 people, maybe it was just 1. Anyway, so what else we got? Do you believe you could make better use of your time? 100% yes.
That's incredible, isn't
it? Everyone was all over that. 100%. We want to use our time better, which I think is really cool. And then,
so if you wanted to make money, you should write a book about time management and how to use your time better. I'm sure there's loads of books out there. No one's got time. No one's got time to read. That's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Completely.
So how do you? Anyway, that's interesting. That's really interesting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do you make enough time for God in your life? And that is 100% no. I mean, I think people are being quite open and honest there. I mean, certainly, I know some people who are really good at this.
Yeah.
And so someone put, it was really good. John, I think it was in the live chat. He said, easier said than done, but with God's help, it's possible and achievable.
Oh yeah, that's so true.
Which is really true. With God's help, we can really, do much better at this stuff, and being a bit more like Mary, huh?
Yeah, that'd be great.
So thank you for the people that have chipped in on the live chat.
Yeah, that's really great.
So I think Jamie might have said something. I'll look at that in a second. So let's have a look at some next steps now. Steps you can take in your spiritual journey to help you move on. To help you move forward, keep moving forward. We love that around here. That if you stand still in your relationship with God, oftentimes it stagnates, and then we don't experience God in the same ways, and we don't hear from God.
But being still and spending time with God is also good.
Yes. So it's on your metaphorical journey.
Yeah.
So
any journey needs to keep moving forward. So that's
yes. Absolutely. Oh, we have so many metaphors
I know.
going on here all at the same time. So Alex, share with us about the love languages.
Yeah, so I mentioned this book today. It's called The 5 Love Languages. It's a resource by a man called Gary Chapman. It's aimed at couples, isn't it? So if anyone has been on like the marriage course, it's a really good resource. But actually, I think it's great for any relationship. So it's all about languages of love, how we communicate. But love is not just it's not just romantic. It can be between friends, etc.
So it's not just soppy,
it's not
boyfriend and girlfriend.
No, it's not just that.
Or like husband and wife.
Yeah.
It encompasses all of our relationships.
Yeah, exactly. And he says the 5 love languages are things like, quality time, gifts, acts of service, physical touch, and something else, but it's in here. And yeah, that's it really. Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation. There you go.
But I think I read a bit of this week. I've got the female and the male version.
Oh, cool.
But I think there might be ones for families and other stuff now. So that's just the couples one.
Yes.
But Gary Chapman has written it for just other relationships, like family relationships.
Yeah.
But they're actually really interesting because if you know how love speaks for you, if it's words of affirmation or gifts or something, then you know that about your friends. You know, you could give a gift to someone who they don't really care about gifts. They'd rather just spend time with you, or they'd rather hug. Do you know what I mean? So
absolutely. And also they change. I think they change as well. Yeah. So me and Christina, my wife, we looked at the book like before. I think it might have been even before we got married or something. And they were one way, and then after being married and having kids, they changed a bit. I think one or the other of us, it changed to be acts of service. So when someone did something like put the dishwasher on or change the nappy.
Whereas before you'd be like, don't care that you put the dishwasher on.
Yeah, exactly. Before you didn't care about that stuff. And now you're like, this is really important.
If you're watching, Christina, just get on the chat. You can say whatever you want
now.
Tell
how bad I am. Tell everyone how bad I am.
No, but that's actually interesting. You have to, I think, keep coming back to it because it's going to change at different, and what the relationship is. If you're a parent or it's a spouse or friend, it's going to be probably different things, isn't it?
The things you appreciate in your relationships, definitely. They mold.
It's a really good resource. I don't think we often think about that. If you don't know about yourself, and then
Yeah.
you don't necessarily know about others.
Knowing ourselves, really important. So one thing that we've talked about quite a lot today is spending time thinking about our priorities and what they are.
Yep.
So a practical way of doing that is maybe just a timesheet. If you're finding it hard to think about, maybe just write it down. I'm super forgetful, so maybe write it down, the things that you do each day or whatever, and then think, well, is that stuff really important? Or maybe use that phone app as well. That might be quite useful. So we talked about the book, didn't we? The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, which is really cool. What else? Connect groups.
Yes.
So that is a good one. If you're looking to join a Connect group, you can go to our website. There's a page on our website called Groups. It's up under the Connect tab on our website. Connect groups are a brilliant way of building relationships with people, being part of a smaller group of people. Because on a Sunday it's hard, isn't it? I mean, it's hard in the live chat. You don't really get that one-to-one, or in a smaller group, it's with everyone. And when you're in the main hall, it can be hard because after the service everyone's chatting, and you don't get that time to have like a intimate talk or a tricky conversation or something you're struggling with. So being part of a Connect group is really helpful for that.
And exploring faith together, isn't it? It's like building friendships, but also exploring your faith with other people, which is really valuable, isn't it?
Completely, absolutely. There's some that are just social groups that just meet and socialise, some that just meet online, some are in person, some that go out for walks. And they study and they look at different things as well. Some go into depth in the Bible, other ones to pick like a subject and have a look around that. So yeah, really recommend Connect groups to you. What about something else for maybe even married couples, Alex?
Yes, pre-marriage and marriage course, which
Love it. Did you do that? Did you and John do that?
Yeah, we did. It's great.
Excellent. Have you done both?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Cool.
And they do. So I don't know. We have a really great marriage team, don't we, at ABC?
Yep.
So they support people who are getting married. So in the run-up, they run this course, which is great. And then if you are married or you're in a couple, there's a great marriage course kind of that runs every so often, like once a year, every few years. It's a couple of evenings of a week, and that's just to like reflect and go look over your marriage or your relationship and learn and improve, etc.
Absolutely.
And they're actually amazing.
We found it really good, me and Christina. It just gives you that time to focus on the marriage, where you you set that time aside, and you can't do anything about it. That is the time.
Yeah, because you could stay at home to be like, I've tried this with my husband. Yeah. Should we talk? You're just not going to do it in your own time at home. Like, let's talk about our relationship and work out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So having that guided is actually really helpful.
It's a great framework, isn't it, as well, for having those discussions. It really helps.
But again, I think it's not just, there are a lot of lessons are just for all relationships, aren't they? Obviously, there are courses specifically for married couples, but yeah,
absolutely. And again, on the marriage course one, the videos are also on Right Now Media.
Yes.
So if you wanted to just go on and have a look at one, maybe you didn't want to come to a structured thing, maybe you just wanted to watch it at home. So they're on Right Now Media. If you're not on Right Now Media, you can ping us a message and we'll help you get on there. You'll have free access as part of our community, whether you come on site or whether you join us online. So that is brilliant. Normally, I'm just going to hold up my hand in the air and say I forgot something. So normally we have some family next steps, and I completely forgot to include them. I believe there's a book. We'll talk about it more next week. There's a book for kids and families, and it's called something Growing in God or something. I'm making a really hash of this now.
Okay.
Anyway.
Maybe a good next step would just be to spend some quality time as a family.
As a family, I love that.
You don't need to do anything.
You don't need to do anything. Brilliant.
I wonder how successful that suggestion's going to be with kids.
Love it. Spend some time. Brilliant. So, thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Chris.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We are genuinely privileged, and hopefully, if you found this helpful, that's the main thing. If there's anybody still out there, we love you for sticking with us.
If it wasn't helpful, just don't let us. You don't need to tell us. That's fine. Just
Brilliant.
We'll see it in the numbers.
Yeah, we'll see it. Brilliant. We're so glad you joined us.
I think the engagement's been amazing today. Like the polls on YouTube, people getting on the chat, letting us know.
This could possibly be the most chatted one I've seen actually on the live chat. So thank you guys for engaging so much. That's pretty much it from us. So thanks for joining us. We'll be back again, same time, same place next week. So have a great week, and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.